We got another quick video for you today, and we are going to look at the over-under props on Underdog Fantasy. And this one is going to be a positive video. We have 4 overs. Typically, I like to stick to unders for season-long pick'ems, but I will have a lot more unders coming out. But anyway, these are my 4 favorite picks right now for overs on Underdog Fantasy. And let's dive into the first one. Derrick Henry, over 10.5 rushing touchdowns. I don't understand this one whatsoever. So let's dive into his game log, as always, and just look at the past 6-7 years. All right. Last season, he had 12 rushing touchdowns. The year before, 13. The year before, 10. But how many games did he play? 8. Year before that, 17. The year before that, 16. Year before that, 12. And the 2 years before that, he was barely their running back for the team. I mean, he wasn't even seeing 200 carries. So, and another thing I want to say about that is look how many games he's played in that span. Honestly, damn near his whole career. It looks like he missed a game in 2016 in his rookie season, a game in 2019, and the second half of the season in 2021 because of his injury. So essentially, this dude doesn't get hurt. He stays healthy all the fucking time. So I don't think there's very much injury risk. It could obviously happen. But if I'm going to take the over for a player, I want to be able to trust that they have a better chance of not missing time than certain players. So what else? Gus Edwards last season was 5th in the NFL in carries inside the 10-yard line with 30 of them, and that led to him scoring 13 rushing touchdowns. He was pretty inefficient last season, or at least for his own sake, from his own past metrics, he wasn't very good. And he was also 29 years old, so don't worry about Derrick Henry being 30. Lack of competition. Keith Mitchell's the RB2 in this offense. He's probably going to miss the first half of the season because of how late his ACL tear was last season. I think it was ACL. Achilles, something. It was one of them. So combining his health, his history with touchdowns, the depth chart, how much success Gus Edwards had with scoring touchdowns, combining all that with the fact that they run the ball number 1 in the NFL over 30 times per game, and that shouldn't change with Derrick Henry added to the mix instead of Gus Edwards. This is an absolute fucking lock. There's just no fucking way. There's no way he doesn't hit 11 rushing touchdowns. He could have 18, honestly. Number 2, and this, honestly, now that I'm saying this as my second pick, I think this is my first pick. This is my favorite pick of the entire Underdog selection. Henry's number 2. Chris Godwin. Okay, I'm not even going to lie. I wrote this down and recorded this video 10 minutes ago, and I did this entire segment thinking that Chris Godwin's over-under line was 1,000 yards, talking about how easily that I would take 1,000 yards. He's done it for the past 5 seasons, yada, yada, yada. Down year last year, he still did it. I went back to actually go put money on it. His fucking 850 yards. Chris Godwin, 850 yards. Pop up the game log. The only year that he didn't do this was his rookie season. He's been in the league for 7 years. He's smacked this in 4 of them. And in 2 other years, he was 8 yards short and 10 yards short. And the only reason that was the case, in 2020, he missed 5 games, or 4 games, I guess. Only played 12 games, was 10 yards short. But holy mother of fuck. 1,000 yards last year, 1,000 the year before, 1,100 the year before, injured, 1,300 the year before. And so that's all. That point right there was just based on what he's done. Now let's look into next year. He's 28 years old. Dave Canales, the offensive coordinator, is gone. For some reason, all Canales wanted to do was pepper Mike Evans and Rachaad White with targets. Even though Chris Godwin, I guess, he only had 2% less target share, but he only scored 2 touchdowns, kind of had a down year, still had 1,000 yards. Liam Cohen is the new offensive coordinator. Now, first of all, he's come out and said that he's moving Chris Godwin back to the slot where he didn't play last year. He was about a 30% snap share from the slot last year, but in 2020, 21, 20, and 19, his 4 best years, over a 50% snap share from the slot. So he's going back to that this season, and the good thing about that is Liam Cohen was the OC for the Rams in 2021 for Cooper Kupp's Triple Crown season. I'm not saying Chris Godwin's going to do that, but 850 yards sounds like a complete joke, fellas. Like, for real. Before I get to the next two, make sure, if you're going to lock any of these in and tail me or fade me or do whatever you want, make sure you use code FORTUNE. It'll get you up to $250 in bonuses. These season-long pick'ems are a very great way to make some money. But besides that, Best Ball, they got all these Best Ball drafts. Where some of them are $3 entries, $5 entries with $20,000 to $50,000 to $1 million in cash prizes. If you just want to tail these 4 picks that I'm giving you right now or fading them, you put $10 on it, it's going to be worth $120. Put $5 on it, it's going to be worth $60. Just pick 2 of them and put $10 on it, $30. So maybe I convince you to take these plays after you listen to this video. But one more thing along with that, I'm hosting a free fantasy football league with $100 in prizes. The first place that wins this fantasy league is going to win $100. I'm going to be in it, so you get to compete against me. If you think I'm an idiot and I have bad fantasy football takes, then come beat me in fantasy. Now, the way that this works, DM me on my Instagram if you have any interest. I will just explain to you how it works right now. If you're not on Underdog, I also have 3 other apps, Sleeper, Dabble, and Rebet, which 3 of those are available in most states. If you're not on one of those, all you got to do is deposit $5 to $10 depending on the app, and I will pay you that $10. If it's Underdog, put $10 in. I'll pay you that $10 back, or I'll even pay it forward up front if you DM me on my Instagram, which is in my bio, fantasy.fortune. I'll send you your money back, so you're not spending anything, and then you can enter the free $100 fantasy league with the chance to win $100, and you'll also have some money to spend on Underdog if you want to tail fade these plays or just do a best ball draft. So I think it's a pretty good deal. Code FORTUNE. Tell your friends about it too if you don't want to. Let's all make some money together. All right. My next one is Jaylen Waddle over 1,000.5 yards as well. Let's look at his history. So in his rookie season, he had 1,000 yards. In his second season, he put up 1,300 yards in 17 games played, and this was alongside Tyreek Hill. So don't be giving me none of that, the ball is just going to go to Tyreek Hill. Last season, he only played 14 games, and he still hit 1,000 yards. But not only did he play only 14 games, this dude got hurt 5 different times throughout the season and continually played injured. And that is why he had such a down season, which, once again, he had a down season and still hit this line. Week 2, he got a concussion. Week 8, back soreness. Week 11, knee soreness. Week 15, bruised chest. Week 16, high ankle sprain. All of this shit that he just kept dealing with, he's still hitting this. Tua led the league in passing yards last year. They got pretty much the same returning offense with additions of Odell Beckham and Jalen Wright, basically. This should be a top 5 scoring offense in the NFL. Should be extremely high-powered, and I fully trust Jaylen Waddle. If he plays 15 games, he's going to hit 1,000 yards. My last one is Anthony Richardson over 7.5 rushing touchdowns. Now that sounds absolutely beautiful to me. First, we can talk about last season. So last season, he played 2 full games, which realistically, they weren't even full games, or one of them wasn't, but basically full. It was a 96% snap rate. So 2 full games and 2 more quarters after that. He played 4 quarters against Jacksonville, 1 quarter against Houston, 4 quarters against the Rams, and I don't even think a full quarter against the Titans. And he had 4 rushing touchdowns in 10 quarters of football. There are 68 quarters of football to be played for Anthony Richardson this season. I don't know why this is. I think this line is just low because maybe he gets hurt again. So if you want to stay away, like you do you, I think if he plays the first half of the season, he could hit this line. Because we saw 4 in 10 quarters, basically 2.5 games of NFL football. So, along with that, let's take a look at Shane Steichen. It's just beautiful, guys. In 2022, Shane Steichen is the offensive coordinator for Philadelphia, gave Jalen Hurts the 3rd most carries inside the 10-yard line of anyone in the NFL. Number 1 was Jamal Williams with 45, 2 was Joe Mixon with 29, and then Jalen Hurts. Now, tush push this, tush push that. Anthony Richardson was peppered with carries inside the 10-yard line in the 2 games that he played last season. Also, Miles Sanders is up there with 26 as well. Basically, sure, Jonathan Taylor is going to take his. He's going to get his touchdowns for sure. To go along with that, Shane Steichen's history. All 3 of his last 3 seasons in coaching have resulted in more rushing touchdowns than passing touchdowns. Even including 2020 when he was the offensive coordinator for the Chargers in Herbert's rookie season, he's posted some of the lowest pass rates in the red zone, 48%, 43%, 39%, and 33%. This dude wants to run the ball, and he could not possibly ask for a better situation to do that. With Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, an elite offensive line, and Steichen being an elite play caller himself, this team could score about 627 rushing touchdowns this season, legitimately. So Anthony Richardson could probably have about 300. Yeah, I'm fucking kidding, but this is a beautiful line, guys. If you want to stay away because of the injuries, you do you. But honestly, I don't even know if he needs to play the full season to hit this line.